Good morning. No signals yet. I'm not finding any video signals till now. No video signals. What happened? Actually, I don't know. Yes, signals have come. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Suraj Singh speaking, calling from Bharat, India on this day, August 19, 2021, Thursday. Quality, safety are top issues, and title being Civil Field Engineering Quality AnnexSL COVID-19 Engineer's Role Towards Safety and Quality, Designs, Construction, Methods, Coordination, Contract, Organization, etc. as usual. Miscellaneous talk and miscellaneous topics. Yesterday I tried to make documents presentation but could not do due to FB issue. Let us see what happens today. Certifications, as you can see, is not for telling that I am that, but only for information that certificates are available with people, particularly top professionals and new professionals. New professionals got certificates of education, degrees, post graduations, which we call Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Sciences, Bachelor of Technology, and simply master certificates and doctorate certificates, and further also. Certificates should tell about this, what I am showing to you: quality, performance, and safety. Are these certificates competent enough to show that? This certificate, for example, this certificate, for example, this certificate, examples, or these are just certificates for purpose of telling that I am this. I don't want to tell someone who I am. I think my work should tell what someone is. It's not film that I am hero and you evaluate my acting or you evaluate acting of someone else. It is profession. It is field that is real. It's not imaginary field of poetry or shairi. It is a field where you can say work tells, because money is used in development, and development is done by performance of work, by output that can be said, measured in terms of works. And what sort of works we have to deliver? Or it's expected that work should be quality based, it should be completely quality bathed, it should be completely quality coated, it should be completely quality structured. I say quality structured, quality coated, quality bathed. And if these are minimum requirement, your product should be completely quality based from its every corner, from its every point. It should be well done, it should be well structured in quality, and it should be well coated, means well finished as you expect finish. It should be built in safety, health, and environment pro atmosphere. It should not give happiness. No, it should not give, sadness. Happiness is to be achieved, but sadness is not to be achieved. So it should not give sadness to those who work on production of products, and also it should not annoy those who use these products. Whatever product, I'm not naming any product. It may be small life product, or it may be middle life product, or it may be very long life product. It should give happiness to those who use that product, and should also give happiness to those who, or you can say a degree of pride in those who are involved in manufacturing process of this product. Manufacturing process is very important. Sales and transport, and that's different. Sales is, if it's done, packet can be made and delivered, but standard of quality and safety are really questionable. These are required in current life because it's very difficult to find availability of quality at places. Quality has been ignored, is being ignored, and how long it shall be ignored, I can't measure that distance. Whatever, whatever work I do as a professional, and whatever my associates they do, everything should be done within defined criteria. But who defines criteria? It is also ourselves that we define criteria and we fix cost accordingly. We say this is a material or this is a product, this has this much defined specifications, and we charge this much for that, we charge X price for that. And there are many varieties of products of same use which can have different quality levels and different prices. I don't mind that because everything relates to cost. This cost you are paying, you will get this level of quality, and this you get, you pay more cost, you will get more quality. That is acceptable because defined criteria exists. You cannot expect everything in just one cost. So I don't mind that, but that should be defined clearly, explicitly, without any hidden factor, hidden condition, as they say, hidden condition. There is no hidden condition. There should be no hidden condition. Hidden condition is you have an inclination to not to deliver right statement to public. Quality has to be understood in clear terms by professionals as well as by consumer or user. Manufacturers are business people. Every manufacturer is interested in making more money. They can spend money on advertisement or publicity for promotion of their business, and they won't mind that if they get augmentation of business by that advertisement, they can digest that one. But don't forget, whatever sum they spend on publicity, that impacts cost on product, and ultimately it is user who has to bear that loss, bear that cost. Manufacturer never bears it. Even if they donate something to someone, it's exempted from income tax in scientific world, and they indirectly get benefit of that. So don't think someone is Satyavadi Harishchandra in this world. Satyavadi Harishchandra, you know what I mean? It's symbolic representation of honesty in our country, Bharat, India. I'm explaining that because I am from Bharat, India, and this talk is addressed to whole world. Bharat, India has one history that names Satyavadi Harishchandra king, and who accepted, who tolerated every atrocities by king, and because he believed in honesty, and he sacrificed whole kingdom properties, or you can say personal life, for sake of maintaining honesty. You can say that person was exclusive in this world. Has been no such person, I think, posthumous of that king Satyavadi. So we call Satyavadi, but his name was Harishchandra. There had been so many people like this, could be in life, and that's what I say. Quality of a person, honesty, sincerity, commitment, dedication, devotion. You can say all these, and of course, to some level, sentiments, emotions with those who are in problem. I'm not talking of rich, I'm talking of those people who are at lowest profile of society, finance wise only, because they can't take good food, they can't live good life, and they can't have good education and health. We have to think for them. It's not political statement, it is society statement, social statement. Minimum quality is right of everybody. minimum health, or you can say at lowest price maximum health is also required for everybody. It may be provided by state, or it may be provided by neighborhood, or it may be provided by some other authority, but it is required. Therefore, quality and safety are two important issues that are considered basis of performance, basis of product performance, work performance, services work. We cannot run away from this. We may be highest level of professionals, but if we are unable to deliver quality, or we cannot deliver ourselves, and we cannot force others to deliver that, we can't claim that we are professionals. How to do that? It's our headache. It's our headache because as far as techniques are concerned, technical requirements are concerned, engineering requirements are concerned, it is the responsibility of technical professionals, engineering professionals, and their associates, where they work together, that they should produce materials which comply with definition of quality criteria, and must be procedure carried out within good safety, good health, and good environment. That is what I say minimum requirement. I want to bring all time this as a part of, you can say, welcome. I start with quality and health, because quality and health should be reminded every day, every time, because quality is valuable, health is valuable, both are valuable. Quality is a kind of characteristics, you can say. It's not simple quality, it's a kind of character, it's a kind of, you can say, a specification that we have to maintain. Just we say, if I am a character person, I would be much better than all others, because I believe in character, I believe in decency, I believe in what should be done in life among society. In personal living, in private room, what you do, that's nothing to do with this. But while in public, to whatever extent you are and you are involved with product manufacturing, it's your duty. It's your duty, responsibility, obligation towards consumer as well as towards society and towards nation, that quality is my duty as a religion. I mean to say, as a religion, I am saying religion is not personal one, but religion means duty religion. My conscious religion that I got education and I devoted myself to that work, to that profession. So that is my religion, because while you are doing work, while I do work, I have to involve my body, my mind, my energy, my blood, and whatever I have to concentrate using all these supports, and only then I can work. This work may be of whatever type, whatever class, whatever profession. Work requires all inputs, and if I am unable to provide those inputs to my work, well, I cannot concentrate on work. In fact, and concentration is very important. When we say we mechanize whole world and machines produce, machines also must be having good organized structure, so that these can work properly without delivering any intolerable error. It's not easy to get quality, but it is very easy to say that we have to do it. I am also saying that I'm not doing any exceptional work here. I'm stressing on how to achieve quality, though everybody knows it. I understand that in university you do not get much input about quality system, but even if you did not get that in university or during your education time, you are educated one, and all those who are educated one, they should not limit themselves to education system, because education means development of mind, activation of mind, and once mind has been activated, it has been activated because you studied for so many years, and mind doesn't sleep then. it works. So maybe you have slackened knowledge of quality, doesn't matter. You can learn it because it's not trigonometry or higher mathematics. It's simple text and simple understanding of methods, understanding of what is required and what is to be done, what is difference between two, what was expected and what is required for that expectation achievement and what we have done. We can compare these two. And if we find some difference among our approach, then we have to apply correction on that. That's very important. That's what system works for. Correction can be applied to any error. It doesn't matter. If you by chance get there has been mistake, you identify mistake. Due to whatever reason, that is a part of investigation. Whatever reason could be, that reason will not help, but it will only tell that keep eyes in future because we missed this. That's called lesson learned. So lesson learned means there is someone who teaches us. That's why we learn lessons, and that is teaches. Who is our teacher? Work is our teacher. In work, quality is involved, safety is involved, material is involved, resources. Every part of work, whatever we missed, that is involved, and we have to understand that point. That's why we say on presentation or on statement, opening statement of this presentation, that quality plus safety, health and environment, ergonomics, these are required everywhere and in every activity, in life and in engineering. These are a must. Yes, we have to accept that fact, and even if I don't accept, I am bound to accept because of professional requirement. When we say profession, it's different kind of work. This says that you are going to produce something which has to pay back in terms of performance. If I invest money on some product manufacturing, it has to work, that product has to work to whatever expectations we put as criteria on quality standards within that product. That product must work at least to that requirement. That's basics of what we are talking. And same consideration applies to safety, health and environment. What level of safety we have to maintain, process shall define, not you or someone else. If there is some expectation of risk, you can foresee risk, or you can say you can analyze safety wise. You can consider, you have experience that this activity can cause this problem. That's what we can say a part of analysis, that you have identified, you have put into list what risks are expected or probable when we perform this activity. And when we know risks, then we can also have many risks on one job, then we can combine those risks and find solutions how to overcome these risks. And that's an important point. And as professionals, we know what activities are, what designs are, we know that. And when we know that, we can know further. One step teaches another step teaches further another step. Education is that, profession is also that. On job, during experience, if you learn, I would say that is real learning. Learning from mistakes, learning from errors, learning from misinformation. A kind of, you can say, job research it is. A kind of activity research means while doing activity, we have to know more and more about impacts of time, cost, and you can say risks, or you can say quality, time, cost, quality, risk, safety, etc., etc. How can these impact on customer or consumer or on organization? We have to be very concerned about importing quality on projects, or incorporating quality on projects, or you can say on materials or products or services product. That's really job that is top engineering, I can say, much more important than what we have to design, or what's our plan. That's much more technical significant act. How to view, how to understand, and before understanding, how to define quality that is going to be operated on process or production or manufacturing of whatever end product. Statement is very simple, very clear, but its implementation, its after effects are very, very difficult. This we have to understand. It's very, very difficult because life is not that easy. We have different minds, different people who work at one place, at one responsibility, and there can be certain degree of chances that they do not talk same language, or they all do not talk on same page, because it is human relations. But in normal way, quality is quality. They may not talk together, they may not understand each other, but they have to work according to requirements, and that requirements is defined within under title of quality for that product. Safety, health and environment factors, requirements are also defined, because life of a person is more important. Yes, one can be accepted if somebody gets sick, but death or fatality is not welcome, it's not accepted, because it takes lives. And I'm not interested in some products that products manufacturing killed people. I'm not interested in that. Time loss can be adjusted, cost variation can be adjusted, but death of people or workers due to negligence, due to ignorance, or whatever reason can be, are not going to be accepted. Nobody can accept that. Even if you get something out of that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept that. If on my project, due to my negligence, if there is some cause of accident, then I am responsible. And if it is someone else on my project, I am even then responsible, because that responsibility of supervision is owned by me for that product. So we have to say quality and safety are two important subjects, or you can say subtopics. Both are very important. Just like we say, if you understand safety or you know safety, you do every act, or you imply all provisions that safety requires for keeping people safe. They say you know what is safety, and if you know what is safety, you should not find any pain. That is first statement. And same thing is reverse also. If you do not want to know safety, then you have to know pain. You have to find pain, because you are destroying your work, you are destroying yourself, and that destruction can destruct people or workers involved there. So that's why I say no safety, no pain, and no safety, no pain. It's written statement, you can see from small middle font in these 8 lines. 3 lines up and 3 lines down, and this is in red, you can see no safety, no pain, and no safety, no pain. That is implicated, that is applied onto production from safety, health and environment discipline or sub-discipline. And about quality also, you can say, if there is no quality, there is no life. You can say, if there is quality, there is life. Or you can say, quality is a must. Or you can say, quality is a must. Safety is first and quality is must. How can we understand this? Safety is a must. Safety is first. First you have to be safe, healthy you mean. Then you can keep work safe and others safe. And if you are not safe, means you have to face pain at whatever stage. So safety first involves there, because those who work there, first they have to be safe. Only then they can work. And quality is a must. quality is a must, and you know meaning of must. Come what may, we have to get quality. Quality cannot be achieved by talking. It has to be achieved by manufacturing process or construction process with peaceful mind and peaceful actions. The actions may require crying, it doesn't matter. So quality, you can say, like safety is first, quality is must. And we should respect all those professionals who believe in quality and safety. Certain people do not accept to realize this fact. But it's not up to your realization, it's requirement. So we can say we have to keep safety first, also working, and you have to keep quality must. And quality must means you have to be first quality person. You have to know what you are going to do. You have to understand what is your claim on work and what is the right of consumer against you or in favor of product. We can say quality has to be complied with defined requirement. I cannot say I would not comply with quality if I say that I am having unsound mind. You can say I have unsound mind because I don't want to accept something which is a part, like I have breathing, my body breathes or respirates. If it respires, this means I should know that I am taking respiration, and that respiration helps me to live by whatever technology, by whatever method. So we have to understand, if I don't care for quality, my product are undefined, these are not claimable, and we suffer in that case if these are not used. So quality has to be complied with defined requirements, and there is no future if no quality persists. But this is only statement. It should be real statement, I should say. Those who have real statements, those nations, those societies, they are much better than what we do, what we think. I'm not disclaiming that we don't have educated people, experienced people, pragmatic people as far as quality and safety are related, but we use this attempt only few times. Sometimes we respect quality in conferences, sometimes people are not interested in this. That's my regret. These engineers' job is to give quality product, but under certain circumstances, because they may not be in power, they may not be in administration, so that file they can't trace. But even then, it is job of everyone. So I can say, as per this page, engineers must realize quality facts, and in particular those who are in construction or in designs of works, and particularly you can say civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society, or else quality cannot be maintained or cannot exist. Quality is in hands of everybody, whether you want to use it or you want to diminish it. It's really a question mark for whole world. Are you interested in quality? If you ask this question, everybody say yes, I am interested in quality. But in fact, when time comes, that person forgets that he committed something, and they push people out. Sometimes they push parents out from their home. This is not good, but they do it. They do like that. We have to confine within this criteria what should be done. Of course, life is difficult. Difficult in what way? Difficult in a standard way. If you have money, you think you can buy anything. Everybody thinks that, but that's not right. You can't buy quality and safety by money only. You need determination. You need will. You need efforts. You have to define what you are going to spend money for. That definition, it can be worked every day, but it's really difficult to understand aspect of quality. And once if somebody understands these aspects of quality, one becomes pleasurous, takes care of everything, and maybe that person works on some street hawker, that person shall be more dynamic in talks, dynamic in action, because this is a kind of self-reprisal, whether it's by on job, salary job, or it may be somewhere else. We can say we have to keep quality intact, we have to keep quality existing, and system quality requires to be devised, because we have to devise it, we have to structure it, and we have to achieve quality that we define. We can break system and we can make system both in our hands. If we want to break it, we can break it, or if we want to make it, we can make it. If we want to break it for no reason, it's a problem, because you have permit, you can go to anywhere and drop yourself, you can excavate, you can do whatever you want by certain strength of yourself. Systems quality are changeable, devisable, achievable, and there should be link to life, so that your system doesn't break, it works. It is up to each individual in profession that one should be forced to achieve quality and to do whatever is required for that achievement, maybe update of knowledge or more knowledge, or practical knowledge, valuable knowledge. And by referring to various other books, other experiences, if whatever way you can get more information, or whatever is written on your contract, whatever you can say, that is very important point. You have to realize that fact, that is quality, its safety, these are, you can say, superstructural risky one, but we have to face it, and date facing is very important. We have to achieve defined quality, as I said. Whatever element, whatever product, or whatever construction work we do, defined quality is a must to be achieved. I'm not teaching, I'm not telling, but you have to do it. You have to achieve product quality to a maximum extent. For this, individuals can be trained, say veterans, or you can say much senior people have a basic right to involve until lives in this world how to handle future. Impression, or you can say impact by individual effort, is very important. Quality system, its design, that should be quality one. If quality one design is not available, then I cannot say that the designer is practical one. I won't accept that designer who only thinks in minute activities, but doesn't think for major activities, detailed activities where finances are involved. They just cannot combine themselves. They come down and lose. Therefore, design also requires quality impact. It must be at every step. It doesn't matter whether proof checked or not, but designer has to keep in view about future accidents that can happen, and quality system is disturbed, safety is disturbed, there exists no reliability in that. And if all stages in designs, I can say, being significant, but merely design does not suffice. If construction and development are not affected, to specified marks. Required or defined quality cannot be allowed to be ignored. And that's what I say. When we say design drawing, it's designed for everything. It's not only construction, it's for other disciplines as well. Design drawings must have quality input within it and duly coordinated to produce smooth working details, keeping every site working conditions for site cannot be relied upon automatically, but provide clear notes specifying properly and explicitly. We have to do construction, we have to do manufacturing. Both are important. Yes, manufacturing is a little easier than construction because construction is not linked to machines directly except certain activities, and this cannot be linked to animals' intrusion into home. Animal intrusion, I mean to say, those unwanted elements should not come into our quality system to spoil it. Construction is not an easy job because it is tough, hard work is required not only by engineer but also by all others. And once construction is done, it's very, very difficult to amend it if we miss certain points. All activities must be taken care of, but it doesn't happen. Reasons could be anyone. Reasons being lethargy in attitude and undue strains in mind. Why should site work suffer? Because of deficiencies that exist in designs. Design accountability must be fixed. If accountability on constituted product or element is reduced, the required designs and constructions qualities are complementary to each other. It's a fact. Whatever design we do, construction will be implemented that way. And by chance you discover sometimes this design was not perfect. Means your whole work which you do based on that design can become imperfect. All activities must be taken care of, but doesn't matter, doesn't happen. Reasons being lethargy in attitude and undue strains in minds. Why should site work suffer? That's first question. Why should site work suffer? Because of deficiencies in designs. Designs accountability must be fixed. If accountability on constructed product or element is required. Design accountability must be fixed, and accountability on constructed product or element is required. Equal pattern requirement is required for life of product, and is required that if consumer pays, it pays for quality as well within same price. It's not very easy to understood, but we understood by new engineers, budding engineers. But those are experienced, I cannot even advise them because they are top professionals and they know their responsibilities. Very important part was how to find quality, how to maintain quality, how to achieve quality. These were very important points and we discussed them a lot. But again I say, if we have every act or sequence of activities in certain topic, in certain work, that completely should be written in a way that everybody understands that. It's not simply that scientist writes and minister approves. It's not that easy. When we say construction, it's, you can say, very much huge raw products or processed raw products are available on sales. That is very important point in construction. Construction means every material in life to put on chair for solutions. And if that can't be done, it's not have invited like that. In construction, we have to first define in whatever activity what we do, what is on cards or what is conventional. Fact remains that construction quality doesn't exist at all. To what common understanding people have about that? Why it is not understood by those people who got doctorate degrees in their times? Also, they got very similar requirement. Even if we do smallest activity, the smallest construction activity, it should be well defined, its procedure should be well clear, and its relation to other possible materials or substances should be clear. If it's not clear, certainly I can say I am not clear. Construction can be defined in writing small sequence of methods and in parallel some safety, health and environment issues related to that topic or that proposal, and then we can say construction complete procedures we must have written documents with. And these three documents along with fourth one, that is enjoying everything, expression of specific details in convenient format, and you can say format for work performance, and define elaborate performance for else, or else where no work can be carried out in sequence and output suffers, resulting in bad standard work. Therefore I say only solution is you define, if you are expert, what they have to do, because I don't expect university people to explain all this, because all sites are classes. Whatever structures do we have in world, they are more responsible than ceiling fan, because ceiling fan is only for air, but these works are air, water, heat, cold, all seasons they are. No one can run away from assuming responsibility that has been given to you by method statements must be made necessary for activities implementation, or else diverse ways can be used by site people, site teams, without achieving any level of uniformity and consistency. Time is very important factor, as I said before. Timely grooming is also important. You can say time is irrevocable. If it's gone and beyond your reach, then don't think that this is yours. It may be yours. Time would tell you. You can say time is irrevocable, for it never comes back if lost without controls, and unchangeable within controls. Cost is invariable, and escalation is a question mark. Cost is variable, so much variable that poor people have stopped thinking to just be in a car and move around. Now, we know what is risk, what is everything, we understand that. I don't want to bore you every time by giving undue. Now, we have here, let me close these certificates because purpose of these certificates is over. I don't want to hang on this, but let's go to what PDF it is. It is, I think we did last time hazards control we did, and then in hazards control we talked of so many activities. Activities that were related to this list. We have talked of this at length, and that is, I think, if something is left, I'll take care of that. Excavation, concreting and shuttering, transportation of gas cylinders, gas cutting, grinding, welding, diesel engines, radiography, pressure testing, cable drum handling, cable pulling, cable laying and cable termination, metal handling, handling of steel, handling of timber, concrete post, steel fixing, backfilling of excavations, transportation, lifting of heavy equipment, erection of scaffolding, provisions and maintenance of safe scaffolding, dismantling of scaffolding, use of hazardous substances, erection of fencing, fabrication of fencing, erection of gates, removal of waste material, erection of steel work, installation of pipeline and well fittings, electrical work, drilling work, rock blasting, earthquake blast, then you can say removal of waste, erection of steel work, installation of pipelines and well fittings, then electrical work, rock drilling, rock blasting, earthwork, site transport. We have understood what are risks, what are hazards involved, and what are control measures from this file. Selected my cargo, just try to give to you. So last are actually transport and earthwork. I have done earthwork, transport, and we'll go back to other file. And transport is a site transport, that is vehicle pedestrian interface, site conditions, contact with structures, vehicle defects falls into execution, and other one is site preparation. Well, I think I was there on site preparation. We did not go well into that, but site preparation is very important item. It's not as easy as we think. It's very, very difficult. It's very time consuming, and therefore we have to understand it clearly. Means when we have to start a site, means site may be uneven, it may be not good in terrain, or it must be having bad soil or whatever reason. And our requirement is that we have very big plant, kilometers by kilometers, and that plant is very responsible for economical development. So we describe that what involves with this work of construction. You can say movement of heavy, this is for earthwork only, it's not for every activity, and we have talked of its requirements of this, how to resolve. There is risk from danger from movement of heavy mobile plant. There's the danger of dust, and we can say noise, and there may be many more, no problem. We have to be within certain limits. That's right. We should understand that point. It says drivers, operators, and banksmen of mechanical plant and equipment shall be adequately trained, be competent, and at least would be 18 years old. Only authorized drivers and operators shall be allowed to use plant and equipment. So no unlicensed person, untrained person, no incompetent person, and age bar is also presented. We have to use only authorized people, drivers, operators, whoever are involved, drivers and operators to be trained not only in correct operation of plant and equipment, but also in limitations of use and possible involved hazards or risks. Then preventive measures, preventive maintenance program be established to make sure that all plants are equipment shall be identified for adopting precautions, and you can say because a preventive maintenance program shall be established to ensure that all plants and equipment are systematically inspected, serviced, repaired and maintained as necessary. Prior to work commences, all overhead and buried electrical cables and other pipelines shall be identified for adopting precautions to prevent damage to these services. Non-required personnel shall be kept distant from area of operation, and trained banks persons should be provided wherever it is necessary. Measures shall be taken to prevent dusty conditions from impairing well visibility by use of water spray on roads and a practicable one-way system of traffic to be followed. Site speed limit be set up and strictly enforced. All personnel shall drive defensively, and this is the meaning. Defensively means safe. Keep yourself safe first and then keep others safe, even if others don't bother. That's what meaning of defensively is. Defensive driving, and plant items should not be parked in such a location so as to cause an obstruction to other plant or site activities, or so close together as to cause danger to working personnel in vicinity. A stacking system to be operated away from area of activities if required in the case of this activity. Plants shall be fitted with reversing alarms where appropriate. Employees working in vicinity of earthwork moving operation should wear safety helmets, safety footwear and high visibility vests. Drivers should not remain on a vehicle being loaded unless a suitable overhead is not clear. Then we have to take care of that driver should not stay within vehicle or remain within vehicle when it's being loaded unless a suitable overhead protection canopy is provided. Personnel should stand clear of loading operations. Personnel shall be instructed to establish control with drivers prior to walking in path of a vehicle, and sleeping under or against vehicle is strictly prohibited. Site transport. Site transport is an activity which is used in conduct of its machine use. You can say hazards are vehicle pedestrian interface. Other one is contact with site conditions. Then contact we have to be very, very clear about these issues. Site conditions shall be taken into account in selecting plant. Drivers to be fully trained in election of plant and be aware of limitations of machines as well as concerning safe operating procedures. Very smart view. You can say vehicles shall be maintained in an efficient condition, state of efficient working order and in good working mode. Basic maintenance to be carried out by driver or operator or pump operator on a daily or weekly basis. Whatever defects found shall be repaired before vehicle is put into service again. Periodic serving of vehicles to be varied, that sedan speed limit is very big question. The speed limit shall be established and clearly understood or displayed for traveling on site, haul roads, internal roads. Persons working adjacent to hand or haul roads, means they are walking in sight or nearby, should wear, so they are prohibited was drivers about it is possibility of vehicles coming into contact with overhead structures or power lines shall be reduced by erecting height, gauges of girth and post type constructed from non-conducting materials distinctively arranged. Now, drivers to be instructed not to carry in unauthorized persons and not to leave vehicles while vehicles running engine emission. Possibility of vehicles coming into contact with the overhead structures of power lines shall be reduced by erecting height gauges of guard post type constructed from non-conducting materials distinctly marked with red lines or red marks and white strips or bunting. Drivers are instructed not to leave vehicle while vehicles running, and drivers to instruct not to carry out unauthorized passengers. Drivers to be instructed not to carry out drivers to be instructed not There are so many points they are concentrated on. Safe working procedures shall be planned in order to reduce possibility of personnel being struck by reversing vehicles. These may include avoiding need reverse by providing a one-way system of movement, exclusion of pedestrians from area of construction where vehicles have to reverse, provision of banksman fitting of reversing alarm on subject. Vehicles shall be prevented, you can say, from falling into excavations, pits, areas, clearly marking haul road and securely fencing off immediate excavation area, providing a banksperson on guide vehicle to a vehicle and warn personnel in excavation to keep clear, and by providing a fixed stop timber bulk securely anchored in excavation to keep clear and by providing a fixed stop timber bank securely anchored well back from edge. Vehicles should not be overloaded and loads to be evenly distributed, secured and not projecting beyond, let's say, on sides or bank of vehicles. Some projection is unavoidable. There it is. Or sides or back of vehicle, if some projection is unavoidable, load to be properly marked in order to ensure that projection is clearly visible. Vehicles should not be overloaded and load to be evenly distributed, secured and not projected beyond. And this is, drivers should not remain in their vehicle while vehicles are being loaded with loose materials. Loading and unloading of tippers, truck, now we'll see. Dumper should not be allowed to travel with body in a raised position unless including forward to discharge its load. Connections between trailers and towing unit shall be securely fixed using correct towing pin and trailing bankers. Brake supply to be before disconnection from towing vehicle. This was little brief of this safety issues where safety is considered. That is very important point. And then we come to confined entries. We have defined study something but could not do that. So purpose and all other index points are same. There's no variance on that, right? We have to understand first what is this confined space. And we have to understand because it's also very important part in profession of engineering. It's involved in all activities of engineering which are having impacts, which are going to have impacts by activities by fire catch up or caught by some activity. It's not like we had. It's also democratic, every country. And what is their democratic value? What is their suffrage? These 2 points are time consumables. In this we can say we had to define first of all according to OSHA, US, United States, in US entry into permits. Let's say US is question, permits required confined spaces must comply with regulations promulgated by OSHA, and there should be a written program for this. These regulations include developing a written program, issuing entry permits, assigning attendants, designating entrants, and ensuring a means of rescue. According to OSHA, a permit required confined space, or you can say permit space, has 3 characteristics listed in foregoing, which define a confined space. In for criteria is there. What are those spaces? They are given already here. That we can see A confined space so that it's easily understandable. Confined space is one that has limited or restricted means of entry or exit. It's large enough for a person to enter, to perform tasks, and is neither designed nor configured for continuous operation or occupancy. I should say occupancy. Maybe only few hours it's allowed, maybe depends on one activities. Let's say it's large enough for a person to enter to perform tasks and is they are neither designed nor configured for continuous occupancy. This question is very easy to answer if it is raised, and everybody should raise questions though I am giving you presentation in documents form. Even then it's better to ask questions, means where you can enter with difficulty, of course you can say. For example, is a utility tunnel. There can be small tunnel inside a boiler. Boiler, is very big heat, very top heat. It boils so many, more than 100 degrees Celsius, you can say. And it's only acceptable when boiler is off, it's not running. Means if you want to enter confined space like boiler, you should be first in safe zone. Boiler should not work at that time, and that's safe zone. You can enter your value there. Utility tunnel inside of a boiler, only accessible when boiler is off. Inside of a fluid storage tank, a septic tank if it is applicable, that has contained sewage. A small underground electrical vault. Ships and other vessels commonly have confined spaces due to need for compartmentalized watertight construction. Exact definition of a confined space varies depending on type of industry. Confined spaces on a construction site are defined differently than confined space in a paper mill. Confined spaces on ships and other vessels commonly have confined spaces due to need for compartmentalized watertight construction. Exact definition of a confined space varies depending on type of industry. Confined spaces on a construction site are defined differently than confined spaces in a paper mill. Confined spaces that present special hazards to entrapment may be classified as permit required confined spaces depending on nature and severity of possible hazards. So other recognized serious safe hazards, and this criteria was contains or has potential to contain a hazardous atmosphere. According to OSHA, a permit required confined space or permit space has three characteristics listed in 4 which define a confined space, and one of more following criteria as a criteria for confined space. Contains or has potential to contain a hazardous atmosphere. Contains a material that has potential for engulfing and drained. Got it? Contains or has potential to contain hazardous atmosphere. Contains a material that has potential for engulfing and drained. has an internal configuration that might cause an entrain to be trapped or asphyxiated by inwardly covering. Confined stress, very important. 3 points I'm just giving you as important from safety viewpoint, and that's again I say contains has potential to contain, hazardous atmosphere. Means permit is required then, and what we have to understand is this: we have to contain that atmosphere which is hazardous, because we have to walk there, and contains a material that has potential for engulfing and trained. Also has an internal configuration that might cause an entrant to be trapped or asphyxiated by inwardly converging walls or by a floor that slopes downwards and tapers to a smaller shown. Now, has an internal configuration that might cause an entrant to be trapped or asphyxiated by inwardly converging walls or by a floor that slopes downwards and tapers to a smaller cross section. Contains whatever other recognized serious safety or health hazards. In addition to hazards posed by design of space, work activities can also pose serious safety hazards, heat, noise, vapors, etc. that must be taken care of into account while identifying hazards. Let me just go for few minutes and come back, because that is routine. It's more than an hour and I have to walk a little with your permission, because my leg still in problem. My leg still requires certain stretching every hour, or I can't sit much longer, so I have to take care of this in minutes and come back. You can read this meanwhile. So back to you guys again. And now, of course, I was talking of most common hazards seen in confined spaces. Most common hazards seen in confined spaces is that of atmospheric impact. You can say that, say 180. Activities can be, work activities can also pose serious safety hazards. In addition to hazards posed by design of space, work activities can also pose serious safety hazards, and that is heat, noise, vapors, etc. that must be taken into account when identifying safety measures. In confined spaces is that of atmospheric impact. These affect air quality and present immediate health hazards up to death. Acceptable atmospheric conditions must be verified before entering into confined space and must be monitored continuously while space is occupied. Oxygen concentration, presence of toxic gases, and flammable material are three conditions that must be monitored. Oxygen concentration, presence of toxic gases, and flammable material are three conditions that must be monitored. Oxygen concentration is considered safe if it is between 19.5% and 23.5% of total atmosphere. What do you mean by that? Oxygen concentration should range between 19.5 to 23.5% of total atmosphere. To protect against toxic gases, contaminants have permissible exposure limit, that is PEL, permissible exposure limit, which are set by OSHA. Work also cannot continue if concentration of material reaches or exceeds 10% of lower explosive limit. So these percentages are defined, and we can repeat it again. It's important one. One was, in addition to hazards posed by design of space, work activities can also pose serious safety hazards, and these activities are heat, noise, vapors, etc. They must be taken into account. Is that of atmospheric impact, which air quality present health hazards up to death. It can lead up to that if air quality and present air quality that present immediate health hazards that can lead up to death. Acceptable atmospheric condition must be verified before entry and must be monitored completely while space is occupied. Oxygen concentration, presence of toxic gases. Number one is oxygen concentration. Then it is number two, presence of toxic gases, and then flammable material are three conditions that must be monitored. Oxygen levels, toxic gases, and flammable materials. These three conditions must be monitored all time. Oxygen concentration is safe if it's available between 19.5% to 23.5% of total atmosphere. To protect against toxic gases, contaminants have permissible exposure limit, which are set by OSHA. Work also terms which we discussed many times, I repeat. Safety means safety, health and environment disciplines to support project activities. Company means organization carrying out or prosecuting project. Contractor means organization that has one project from client for prosecution. Subcontractor means an organization that has one part of project work from contract to organization. Client means an organization and title company in contractual terms that has entrusted project to organization of contractor. Personal means all personnel involved on project site activities. Responsibility means job and contract responsibility. Training means training imparted for specific safety topic on job and project site. Management or organization means top, middle and lower organization or management. Safety manager means a person that leads the job title safety manager deployed by certain organization. Project level project leader manager means a person such as project manager title deployed by contractor. Engineer means a person appointed by client or client company for an overall project responsibility. And responsibility in general respecting certain contract positions is the project leader responsible for all our obligations. Project leader Site leader responsible for overall site prosecution, organization overwork and subcontractor, site safety officer responsible for overall safety organization on site and report to project leader, site manager, site leader, corporate safety leader. Construction manager or leader responsible to arrange all safety related resources and provide site team all requirements. Project site engineer responsible to carry out safety issues within section successfully. Site safety inspector, engineer responsible to supervise safety measures on site and control safety issues should bring to site line organization or management to adopt correct measures. Site foreman responsible for compliance of safety organization measures as standards or as directed. An individual working on site responsible to maintain safety measures in case missing should bring to site team attention immediately. Safety responsibility each and everybody. And here employer is project owner, contractor is EPC contractor. Confined space as explained previously in previous paragraph. Confined space as explained purpose in foregoing is an area where exists a possibility of exposure to toxic, flammable and deficiency or excess of oxygen. It shall include all chambers, tanks below ground. It shall include all chambers, tanks below ground areas including unventilated basements, pipes or similar confined space. A place large enough to be so configured that an employee can bodily enter and perform assigned work is also called the confined space. If space has limited or restricted means for entry or exit or is not designed for continuous employee occupancy is also considered. So why say here is something, it's not indifferent but right, says that it shall include all chambers, confined space shall include all chambers, tanks below ground, areas including unventilated basements, pipe or similar confined space. A place large enough to be so configured that an employee can bodily enter and perform. Assigned work is also called confined space. If space has limited or restricted means, it space has limited or restricted means for entry or exit or is not designed for continuous employee occupancy is also considered a confined space. passes through an opening into a permit required confined space. An authorized person An authorized person is an individual who is authorized to enter a permit required confined space and whose name and title is listed on entry permit log form. Standby person or man is an individual who is stationed immediately outside confined space with sole duty to monitor, authorize and to assist to implement emergency procedures. Attendants shall be listed on entry permit. Hazardous atmosphere is one which may expose employees to risk of death, incapacitation, impairment of ability to self-rescue, leave a permit space unaided, injury or acute illness. Engulfment is defined as an adverse condition created by surrounding and effective capture of a person by a liquid or finely divided semi-solid, solid substance that can be either respired to cause death by filling or plugging respiratory system, or that can exert enough force on body to cause death by strangulation, construction and crushing. We'll repeat. Entry. Again I say, action by which a person passes through an opening into a permit required confined space. An authorized person is an individual who is authorized to enter a permit required confined space and whose name and title is listed on entry permit log form. Standby person is an individual who is stationed immediately outside confined space with sole duty to monitor, authorize entrance occupying confined space. Attendant shall be listed on entry permit. Hazardous atmosphere is one which may expose employees to risk of death, incapacitation, impairment of ability to self-rescue, that is, leave a permit space unaided, injury or acute illness. Engulfment is defined as an adverse condition created by surrounding and effective capture of a person by a liquid or finely divided semi-solid, solid substance that can be either respired to cause death by filling or plugging respiratory system, or that can exert enough force on body to cause death by strangulation, constriction or crushing. For ensuring that all overall requirements are understood to be followed by all parties involved in whatever confined space operations. EPC contractor, site leader, HSE leader is responsible for ensuring following issues. Ensuring that EPC contractor, supervision, subcontractor, supervisor and leader are familiar with this procedure. Whatever confined space operations being carried out are in compliance with this procedure. Contractor HSE department is responsible for providing necessary training for implementation of this procedure. Initially, inspecting an area to ensure all hazards or potential hazards have been identified and controlled. Testing confined space for atmospheric hazards. Record test results on work permit for documentation. Verifying with supervisor in charge of work that confined space has been isolated by locking and tagging out of all energy sources blinds and valves located on lines leading into or out of confined space. It says verifying with supervisor in charge of work, that confined space has been isolated by locking and tagging out of all energy sources, blinds and valves located on lines leading into or out of confined space, issuing of permits to work, ensuring that employees and work are supervised in confined spaces, arranging training for personnel required to work or supervise in confined spaces, periodically monitor work conditions in confined space, ensuring that contingency plans and relevant arrangements are ready. Some note: multi-gas detection. Multi-gas detection equipment suitable for testing flammable gas, oxygen content, hydrogen sulfide and nitrogen levels shall be available for conducting pre-entry atmosphere testing by trained safety department staff. That is multi-gas detection equipment suitable for testing flammable gas, oxygen content, hydrogen sulfide and nitrogen levels shall be available for conducting pre-entry atmosphere ensure that this method statements necessary for doing job, ensure that all tests have been properly conducted and that all other permits, procedures and equipment are available before starting work, planning all work as far as practicable, including managing, organizing contingency plans and relevant arrangements, standby person trained for conducting emergency response must be stationed outside entry into confined space to supervise and monitor entry and to provide immediate assistance. Now instructions. Prior to work being carried out, tests shall be conducted to determine whether or not a hazardous atmosphere is present which could endanger space occupying persons carrying out tasks. All deficiencies must be corrected before entries can be authorized. Confined space entry preparation. Permit. Test results are to be documented on air monitoring tag before entry. This section should mechanical ventilation must be shut off for 15 minutes before atmospheric testing is performed in order to get representative readings. All live lines leading into or out of vessel, such as tower, tank, exchanger, reactor, etc., and electrical equipment must be completely isolated before entering confined space. Very important point. All live lines leading into or out of vessel, such as tower, tank, exchanger, reactor, etc., and electrical equipment must be completely isolated before entering into confined space. Unions must be broken and plugged. Slip blinds, blind flanges, or bull plugs must be installed at nearest possible location to vessel or equipment. All energy sources must be locked out and tagged. Danger tags and lockout devices must be installed as defined by lockout tag out program on project. Hydraulic and pneumatic systems must also be depressurized. Where blinding is not possible, such as walls, sumps, pits, sewers, etc. Other precautions must be taken, such as using plumber's plug. When plumber's plugs are used, it's necessary that special care be taken to relieve all upstream pressure buildup so that plug can not blow out. Continuous monitoring would also be required during entry into these confined spaces. Acceptable entry conditions. Conditions which exist in confined space to allow entry and to ensure safety of all personnel. 22.5% maximum, maximum, not more than that. Flammable gases, 0% maximum and non-detectable. Toxic gases, vapors, dust, fumes maintained below permissible exposure limits, PEL. Radioactivity not to exceed country regulations. Engulfment hazards have been eliminated or controlled. Entry supervisor shall establish need for a confined space, entry permit based on risk assessment of job and conditions in work area. Complete method to carry out activities in confined space must be charted out on details to avoid time wastage or delay instructions. Carbon monoxide, etc. Concentration. Source of contaminant shall be clearly identified. Entry into confined space shall be on hold until cause of contaminants within atmosphere of confined space have been clearly understood and following effective control measures put in. Ventilating space. Atmosphere of space shall be purged of all toxic and combustible materials. Ventilation shall be provided in order to ensure that confined space atmosphere is safe. Exhaust of ventilating equipment shall be designed to protect workers in atmosphere. Exhaust of ventilating equipment shall be designed to protect workers in atmosphere. Through space as indicated in foregoing. Air exhaust port. Air exhaust port equipment shall be placed far enough from entrance to confined space in order to prevent recirculation of polluted air back into confined space. Isolating space. This note is air exhaust port equipment shall be placed far enough from entrance to confined space in order to prevent recirculation of polluted air back into confined space. Says an exhaust port equipment shall be placed far enough from entrance to confined space in order to prevent recirculation of polluted air back into confined space. Supervisor in charge of work blinding, piping, duct line removal, double block and bleed. Equipment tag outlocks and blocking or disconnecting mechanical linkages. So blanking, blinding, piping, duct, line removal, double block and bleed. Equipment tag out, lockout and blocking or disconnecting. A confined space. No person shall enter a confined space without being made aware of contents of permit and conditions attached to permit. No person shall enter a confined space without being made aware of contents of permit and conditions attached to permit. A copy of permit must be provided posted adjacent to entry to confined space. All hinged or swinging access hatches. All hinged or swinging access hatches, doors and covers shall be substantially blocked, tight or otherwise fixed in open position until confined space is secured. Guardrails, barricades or similar protection. Guardrails, barricades or similar protection shall be provided around confined space, access points to prevent persons from falling into openings or making unauthorized entries. Solvents which are flammable and or toxic shall not be used in confined spaces without approval of safety department or an alternative equivalent. Hoses supplying hazardous gases to areas within a confined space shall be equipped with access flow. Check valve devices and not contain patches or repairs within or in vicinity of space. Dust generated within a confined space shall be controlled. Entry shall be prohibited whenever a flammable atmosphere is present within a confined space. At least one standby person shall be positioned outside confined space for duration of entry operations. Following equipment shall be available for confined entry use. Employees shall also be trained in their proper use. And these include this equipment. This equipment listed below are testing and monitoring equipment, communicating equipment, that is radios, personal protective equipment, lighting equipment, barriers and shields, equipment for safety, ingress and egress by entrance ladders, emergency procedures and notifications. Testing and monitoring equipment, ventilating equipment, communication equipment, that is radios, personal protective equipment, lighting equipment, barriers and shields, equipment for safety, ingress and egress by entrance, that is ladders, emergency procedures and notifications. Then eating or drinking within confined space shall be prohibited. Eating and drinking within a confined space shall be prohibited. Smoking shall be prohibited in confined spaces. Personnel entering a confined space area should wear a harness attached to lifeline leading out of area. IDLH, that is immediately dangerous to life and health, means a condition that proposes an immediate or delayed threat to life, or that would cause adverse health effects, or that would interfere with an entrant's ability to escape without help from a permit space. Oxygen deficient atmosphere means an atmosphere containing less than 19.5% oxygen by volume. Oxygen enriched atmosphere means an atmosphere containing more than 22% oxygen by volume. So condition says IDLH, immediately dangerous to life and health, means a condition that proposes an immediate or delayed threat to life, or that would cause adverse health effects, or that would interfere with an entrant's ability to escape without help from a permit space. Oxygen deficient atmosphere means an atmosphere containing less than 19.5% oxygen by volume. Oxygen enriched atmosphere means an atmosphere containing more than 22% oxygen by volume. Permit required confined space program. Contractor and subcontractor as applicable shall enforce required measures to prevent unauthorized entry, distinguish and classify hazards for permit required confined space before employees enter into coordinate procedures, produce and coordinate procedures and operations necessary for a safe permit confined space entry, provide necessary equipment to employees, sustain that equipment properly and ensure that employees are using equipment properly. This includes testing and monitoring equipment, communications equipment, personal protective equipment, lighting equipment, and barriers and shields. Employer must also make available all necessary rescue equipment. When an unsafe condition arises in or near entry permit, contractor or subcontractor as applicable shall retain each cancelled entry permit for at least 1 year to allow review of permit required confined space program. Problems confirmed. Problems permit. Authorized entrance within permit required confined space by name or by such other means as shall allow attendant to decipher quickly and accurately for interval of permit which authorized entrants are inside permitted confined space. Personnel by name currently serving as attendants. Individual by name currently serving as entry competent person. Supervisor with a space on permit for signature or initial of entry supervisor, who originally authorized entry hazards of permitted confined space to be entered. Measures used to seclude permit confined space and to eliminate or manage permitted confined space hazards. So we are here on training, right? So it says contractor and subcontractors. Contractor and subcontractor shall contractor and subcontractor shall provide training so that employee whose work is regulated by permit required confined space entry program obtains thorough understanding, knowledge and skills necessary for safe performance of responsibilities assigned under this section. Training shall be provided to each in if there is a change in assigned duty. Employees must undergo additional training or orientation. If there is a change in permit required confined space operations that presents a hazard which concerns an employee who has not previously been trained in that area, that personnel must be given training concerning conducting proper operations and required procedures. Training shall establish employee competence in responsibilities required by this of trainers and dates of training. Certification shall be available for inspection whenever entrant notices a warning sign or symptom of exposure to a dangerous situation or personnel detects a prohibited condition. If entrant or recognizes a warning sign or symptom of exposure to a dangerous situation, evacuation of permitted confined space is necessary. Existing confined space area shall be required. This is emergency situation, I repeat. Attendants must be notified immediately whenever entrant notices a warning sign or symptom of exposure to a dangerous situation. Evacuation of permitted confined space is necessary and everyone must exit confined space immediately. If entrant detects a prohibited condition or an evacuation alarm is activated, exiting confined space area shall be required. Now here is what it says. Information on mode, signs or symptoms and consequences of exposure. confirms by checking that appropriate entries have been made. Unproved individuals to enter permit space says says prevents unproved individuals to enter permit during entry operations and ascertains whenever responsibility for a permit space entry operation is transferred at periods mandated by hazards and operations performed within space that entry operations remain dependable with terms of entry permit and that permissible entry conditions are maintained. So again it's confusing point. Before this it was confirms that rescue services are available and that means for notifying them are operable, and it prevents unproved individuals to enter permit which not enter space during entry operations and ascertains whenever responsibility for a permit space entry operation is transferred at periods mandated by hazards and operations performed within space that entry operations remain dependable with terms of entry permit and that permissible entry conditions are maintained. If an entrant has potential to be exposed to a substance for which a material safety data sheet required to be kept at work with the written statement information and if an entrant has potential to be exposed to substance for which a material safety data sheet required to be kept at work, written information shall be made available to medical of attendants remain outside permit space. Exposure, sign or symptoms, consequences of exposure. Emergency rescue equipment on site and all personal protective equipment same as used by entrant to use at once in case of required entry. Maintain communications with and keep an accurate account of those workers entering into permit required confined space. Order evacuation of permitted confined space when a prohibited condition exists. When a worker shows sign of physiological effects, we can say order evacuation of permitted confined space when a prohibited condition exists. Entry supervisor of entry by unauthorized persons perform no other duties that interfere with attendance. Space hazards, including information on mode of exposure, inhalation or thermal absorption, signs of symptoms and consequences of exposure, use appropriate personal protective equipment properly, such as gloves, aprons. Supervisor, competent person, or when entrant recognizes warning signs or symptoms of exposure exists, when a prohibited condition exists. Exit from the permit confined space immediately when ordered by attendant or supervisor, competent person, or when entrant recognizes warning signs or symptoms of exposure exists, when a prohibited condition exists, or